Senator Joe Manchin, of course, abruptly pulled the plug this week on the Democrats'
No, Martha,
plans
he didn't
to
abruptly.
pass.
Martha,
Okay,
okay.
he abruptly on Friday
He didn't
did
abruptly
that.
do anything.
He was
He has
negotiating
sabotaged
for a while.
the president's agenda. No. Look, if you check the record 6 months ago, I made it clear that you have people like Manchin, Sinema to a lesser degree, who are intentionally sabotaging the president's agenda, what the American people want, what a majority of us in the Democratic caucus want. Nothing new about this. And the problem was that we continue to talk to Manchin like he was serious. He was not.
All right, so I love the rejection of the framing here by Martha Raddatz. And by the way, that is Joe Manchin's framing as well. Oh, no, you know, of course I was negotiating in good faith. Of course. It's just that, you know, the deal. I'm so worried about, you know, inflation and all of that stuff. No, I love that he disregarded that framing because it's BS. And I don't think this is done enough on the media. Mainstream media always gives the benefit of the doubt to so-called moderates. In reality, he's not a moderate. Joe Manchin is a corporatist. He's a corporate stooge. And Bernie Sanders goes on to lay out why that is the case.
This is a guy who is a major recipient of fossil fuel money, a guy who has received campaign contributions from 25 Republican billionaires. In my humble opinion, you know, Manchin represents the very wealthiest people in this country, not working families in West Virginia or America.
Not just his humble opinion, but that's who Joe Manchin actually does represent. Look, if you want to know what Joe Manchin is going to do, well, I have some advice for you. All you have to do is follow who's paying him. That's it. You look up the donations, and you instantly know what direction he's going to go. And this is what frustrates me about corporate media is to go, oh, but Manchin wants this now, and he reversed course, and he did this and did that, and maybe he wants this, and he says, well, I'm worried about inflation, I'm worried about this. No. You only need to look who's paying him to understand what Joe Manchin's position is going to be. And again, I would apply that standard to about 90% of Congress as well. You only have to look who's paying them to see their priorities. Again, 100% of the time, people like Joe Manchin will do exactly what the donors tell them to. There is one exception, of course, and that's if the will of the donors might conflict with their own personal finances. But understand that almost never happens. I don't think I've ever seen that happen at any time, because usually the donors and the politicians, their own financial interests are aligned. Manchin, again, is the chair of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee and is also the top beneficiary of oil and gas money in Congress this election cycle. He also has personal investments in coal. Manchin had holdings in 2021 valued at between $1 to $5 million in Enersystems alone. That is a coal brokerage business that he had founded, according to recent financial disclosure forms. That same year, he made more than $536,000 from those very same holdings. He also has a stake in another firm run by his son, Farmington Resources Incorporated. Its services include support activity for coal, metal mining, and drilling oil and gas wells. Gee, I wonder why he tanked Biden's climate agenda. Oh, it's a mystery. We have to figure this one out. Politico, get on it. Write an entire piece about how, oh no, he really tanked it because he was worried about inflation. And then he actually does care about the environment. Oh yes. Oh wait, Politico's already run that piece. And it was absolutely ridiculous to read. Brainless. I mean, you would have to have a completely empty head to read that and think, no, you know it. No, he's right. It had to have been inflation. Exactly. 100%. Now, here's the thing, too. Those donations are different than, obviously, personal finances, right? Now, the millions of dollars in donations, many from people who donated to President Trump, like investor Ken Langone and private equity executive Mark Rowan, which, by the way, is not exclusive to Republicans, right? Those donations, a lot of these companies, I should say, donate to both sides, Republicans and Democrats. Speaking of Politico, new campaign finance disclosures, they reported, show that business magnate Bill Gates gave Manchin $2,900, as well as former Virgin Galactic CEO George Whitesides and Morris Goldfarb, whose G3 apparel group owns brands like Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, DKNY, and Karl Lagerfeld. A number of high-powered executives also maxed out to Manchin between April and June, including banker Warren Stevens, hotel executive Tom Baltimore, Motorola CEO Greg Brown, Home Depot CEO Edward Decker, Yum Brand CEO David Gibbs, Gillette CEO James Gilt, and Robert Kraft and his son Jonathan. Now, can you think of a reason why they donated? Oh, right. It's because he stopped Build Back Better. Build Back Better would have actually helped you and maybe raise taxes on these corporations just a little bit. But no, they can't handle it. Now, the difference, of course, is that these donations, yes, they go to your campaign. But Manchin's investments in fossil fuels, guess where they go? They go right in his pocket. Which brings me back to the framing and how stupid Washington, D.C. reporters are. Maybe stupid's a harsh word, okay? But I mean, you could be incredibly kind and say that, oh, it's just, Washington groupthink. That's what it is. They're all people that, are just immersed in this narrative, like corporations are great, and that progressive's bad, and that, Joe Manchin is just a straight shooter, and, he just cares about inflation so much and the national debt. That's the real problem. That's what's stopping everything. Now, Manchin, on that inflation issue, what's the Fed doing to stop the inflation that they had caused with them giving trillions of dollars to the banks in liquidity? I think it was somewhere around $6 trillion during the COVID pandemic that they had given the banks in liquidity. Which, again, the banks then used to buy back their own stocks and increase executive payouts. Now, what is the Federal Reserve doing that? Oh, right. They're going to hike. In fact, they already have hiked interest rates. Now, when you do that, when you hike interest rates, it's actually more expensive for companies to borrow money. A lot of corporations who have loans out already, millions of dollars in loan, guess what? They're going to end up paying more in interest. And when you're paying more interest to pay off these loans, guess what? That's going to cost them in profits. So Manchin doesn't want them to do rate increases, because what they're doing with the increase in the rate is their whole plan is to cool the economy, which is just another word of saying, well, we're going to make it so that people, that these companies hire less people. We're going to try to lower people's demand. That's going to cause unemployment. That's going to cause real suffering. Okay? That's their plan. And so Manchin is saying, oh, no, okay, let's here's what we're going to do. We don't want the Fed to raise the rate that much because that's going to cost corporations. I don't care at all about the workers. I don't care about the employment. No. Don't care. I just care about corporations having to pay more on their loans. That's it. No, the real thing that we should do about inflation is we should do austerity. Less spending. We're going to put less money in the economy into your pockets because we think, well, less money to you. That's a good thing. More money for corporations. That's a good thing. And we're going to use inflation as a cover to try to do austerity. They want to be spared the pain of rate increases, having to pay more on their loans. Now, as Elizabeth Warren pointed out, rate increases are going to do nothing to actually lower the cost of food and gas. Again, these people admitted it. the Federal Reserve admitted it. Yeah, they're not going to do anything. It was Jerome Powell. But see, Washington and the reporters, they eat up this narrative. Finally, we're seeing somebody try to put a pin in it. And I want to see more of this. I do want to see more pushback against these narratives, especially from Bernie Sanders, who I've been disappointed in because of how much he has defended his friend Joe Biden. So I hope we're seeing a return to a strong Bernie Sanders who has finally had enough of what's going on. And to see him on the attack again is good to see. Let's see more.